Thank you for joining me for the 10th episode of Where Silence Has Something to Say. Today's reflection is safety, the ninth component in our journey exploring the 13 attributes of Shalom. As we enter the shelter of Shalom, I invite you to breathe. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly in this sacred and safe space. In our modern Western world, safety is often understood in terms of management and control, where the absence of danger defines our sense of peace. We install locks, build fences, pass legislation, and monitor threats, all under the impression that the safe person is the one who is least exposed. However, understanding this through the lens of Hebraic imagination, safety is deeply relational. It is not the product of human control, but of divine nearness. It encourages vulnerability, not as weakness, but as an invitation to trust. Safety isn't merely the absence of danger, but more importantly, the presence of Elohim, a refuge found not in walls, weapons, or surveillance, but in relationship. Let's turn to a familiar passage found in Psalms chapter 91. The complete Jewish Bible, verses 1 and 2, reads, "You who live in the shelter of Elyon, who spend your nights in the shadow of Shaddai, who say to Adonai, my refuge, my fortress, my God, in whom I trust." The King James Version reads, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust." Notice the verbs dwell, abide, trust. They point to relationship, not resistance. To shelter in God or Elohim is not to escape life, but to be safe within it. This is safety. Shelter in the shadow of Shalom. Now hear the words of Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 10. "The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are safe." This is not a tower of brick, stone, or steel that we build. It is a name, a presence, a person we dwell in. Apostle Paul speaks of this in the book of Acts, chapter 17 and verse 28, when he says, "In him we live and move and have our being." His name is not our backup plan. He is our only plan. He doesn't step in when all else fails. He is the one who keeps us when we fail. Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 23 shows what this safety produces. It says, "Then you would walk safely in your way, and your foot would not stumble." Safety in Shalom isn't just a hiding place. It teaches us how to walk without fear of falling. Psalms chapter 4 and verse 8 draws us into another dimension of this safety. It reads, "In peace I lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Yahweh, make me dwell in safety." Here we see it again, dwelling, not fleeing, not defending, dwelling in peace, walking without fear of falling, and sleeping in safety. This is not circumstantial confidence. This is covenant confidence. Psalms chapter 27 and verse 5 in the Tree of Life version strengthens this picture with a beautiful rendering. "For in the day of trouble, he will hide me in his sukkah, conceal me in the shelter of his tent, and set me high up on a rock." It may be a sukkah, a temporary shelter, but this opens the door to a larger truth. True safety isn't about the structure. It's about the presence that fills it. The sukkah was fragile and temporary, but his covering was not. The safety it held, because of his presence, was anything but temporary. This is the lasting reality of being hidden in his presence and lifted upon his rock. Psalms chapter 32 and verse 7 adds yet another layer. "You are my hiding place. You protect me from trouble. You surround me with songs of deliverance." Not only are we hidden, we're surrounded, not by fear, but by songs, encircled by celebration, even while trouble still exists. Finally, adding Messiah's voice from the New Testament lens, it adds another dimension of safety. The Gospel of St. John, chapter 10 and verse 27 and 28 says, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand." This is safety, the impossibility of separation. So here is the paradox. To be truly safe, we must surrender control, return to the dwelling place that has existed from eternity past, and embrace his safety, not from the world, but within it. A safety that lets us dwell in peace, walk without fear of falling, and sleep in security. What if we stop fearing vulnerability and surrender? What if safety isn't about keeping the world out, but about allowing his presence and his name in? Until next time, may you experience dwelling, walking, and sleeping in safety that doesn't depend on surveillance, circumstances, or contracts, but rest in the promise and presence of his name. And there you will find safety, where silence has something to say.